start, please. Well, good morning. I'm going to present about a survey-based study, the relationship between streams and motivation. So what is my research question? Is there a significant association between the student's degree choice and their dominant type of motivation? The reason I want to investigate this is because I believe that understanding what motivates us to take decisions, especially for us young people choosing our degree, is very important because this type of decision, which is degree choice, will have an effect on our life on the long term. So understanding what motivates us and guides us to make this type of decisions or choices is something that we should be aware of. My hypothesis is that the engineering stream will present a significant relationship with their dominant type of motivations. The justification behind my hypothesis is that students normally face external and internal factors that guide them or motivate them to do stuff or to accomplish objectives. So if we consider that these external and internal factors can act as intrinsic and extrinsic motivators, we may say that there will be a relationship between their degree choice and the dominant type of motivation they present. So the method. The method used to collect the data was an online survey. This survey had 3 parts. On part 1, demographic information from the participant was obtained. As can be seen here, it was obtained gender, in which we were given 4 options for gender identity and 4 strings. This first part was done with the multiple option format. The second part of the survey presented motivation prompts, in which basically they presented the students with prompts about motivation. For example, I do my homework just for the sake of doing it. And this second part used the Likert scale, which went from option 1, described me extremely well, to option 5, does not describe me at all. Part 3 approached multiple intelligences. So in this part, there were 8 lists of activities. And the format of the list was multi-selection, so all the participants could choose all the options they applied to them. So the results, as you can see in the graph, in the green bar here represents the neutral motivation, and as can be seen for both streams, the engineering and non-engineering, neutral motivation is the highest one. And the trend here is that intrinsic motivation, that is represented by the red bar, and extrinsic motivation, that is represented by the blue one, both fall second and third for both streams. So this is what can be observed from the data. And on top of that, with this data, a chi-square was performed, and what was found was that the p-value, which you can be seen here, is less than the degree of freedom. It's not less than the degree of freedom, which means that the hypothesis, according to the chi-square test, is rejected. So what are the possible reasons for these results? The main reason I found is multi-determination. So what is multi-determination? Multi-determination is a concept or the idea that an individual's choice is not just made based on just one factor, but multiple factors are considered when we're making a choice. So this multi-determination, what tells us is that regarding the importance of degree choice for students, as considering the effects it will have on the long term in our lives, then we cannot just say that we just consider one factor to make this decision. And this idea is supported by the graph I previously showed, as we can say that the neutral motivation is the state in which students don't have neither an intrinsic or extrinsic dominant type. So this behavior that is shown in the graph before, in the neutral motivation graph, is called multi-determinant behavior. And just trying to put all this multi-determinant behavior under the banner of extrinsic or extrinsic motivation will be actually overlooking the complexity of the student decision-making process, especially in this type of choice, which is very important for our future lives. So yeah, the answer for my research question would be no, there's not a significant relationship between degree choice and the type of dominant motivation. So some limitations of this study is the use of the survey. A survey is a cross-sectional study, which means that it's a study in which data is taken in just one moment of time and just one time, which means that time development and the students' change of perception in time is not considered a factor in this study. Another possible limitation is the lack of sources of other data, as normally scientific studies tend to use more than one source of data to make this type of researches. Some implications would be, for example, this research could be useful for high school academic advisors, as like they can use this information about like the multi-determinant behavior to try to guide their students, especially the ones who are like looking forward to international education, toward choosing the best career, the best degree that they can. It could be useful too for future more detailed studies in international students' academic degree choices. And these are my reference. Thank you.
Give appreciation with your wholeheartedly to everybody.
Hmm?
I'm saying it.